He's looking at his watch. I call to order this study session, April 8th, 2024. We have two things on our agenda, real things, and I'm going to turn it over to Jason to kick us off.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for the record, I want to point out that all of the council members are present tonight. First on your agenda tonight is the YMCA annual update. And before I turn it over to Charlie and Jenna, I wanted to provide council with an update of why they're here tonight and why we have services agreements with the YMCA. We have a number of new members, and I'm not sure that all of our members know the history. So I thought I'd take just a moment and go over that. So back in 2013, the city entered into a services agreement with the YMCA. And we did this in exchange for a financial contribution of $5 million from the city to the YMCA. And we did this because, we wanted to see the Y become a staple in our community and provide needed and valued services that not only promote safe swimming for our young kids, but also encourage a Parks and Rec program to grow. So while it was valued at $12 million, the city made a $5 million contribution to the YMCA over a number of years to help get this project up and going. And in exchange for that, the YMCA provides a number of services, like I mentioned, swim lessons, access to the community room, discounted membership rates, among many other things that they provide. So Jenna will be going over where we're at on those items. And then in 2019, we entered into another agreement with between the Y and the city. And this was for real property located just to the north of the Y. And the address is 6109 and 6209 160th Avenue East. At the time, the land was valued at $700,000. The city owned that land, and the Y wished to expand and build outdoor recreation facilities to not only serve their membership, but also serve the community as a whole. That included athletic outdoor turf field, lighting, restrooms, shelter, and associated amenities. Originally, that was anticipated to be constructed and completed by the end of 2024. However, in August of 22, I think we all knew that with the pandemic going on, it severely impacted the Y's ability to operate and function, and also raise money to help pay for that construction. So the council amended the services agreement, gave it 2 extra years of due date, and also changed the mix of services. The YMCA provided also some cash towards that $700,000. So tonight, Jenna Lehman, who's the executive director, and Charlie Davis, who's the CEO of the Pierce County Y, will be here to provide you an update on how they're meeting those services agreements and answer any other questions you may have.
All right, thanks, Jason. I'm just wait for my PowerPoint real quick. Just first want to say thank you so much for helping bring the Y to Sumner. It's I believe been a tremendous asset to our community, and it's been fun to see some of your family members there and some of you, but also just to see a full parking lot where our community comes together. So thank you for making it possible and continuing to support the Y. So we'll start with a little bit of update, just a quick overview of life at the Y as we know it, and then I'll get into the details of the services agreement. So you'll see here on the PowerPoint, just showing kind of our growth and our rebound from COVID. We took a pretty hard hit when we were closed for those 6 months, and since then have just been rebuilding in a world that looks differently these days and functions differently. And so really excited to show that we are really getting pretty close back to where we were in February of 2020 before we shut down. We're approaching on 18,000 members. Excuse me. And the building is busy and the parking lot is full, and it's a great place to be. As you'll see, our amount of members on scholarship continues to grow. We give about $26,000 each month out in scholarships, and that can range anywhere from 10% off of their membership fee all the way up to 100% off of their membership fee. And We want to make it possible for them to be there and for those who need us the most. And we are more than just a gym. We do a lot of other things. Maybe you remember that Lahar drill, that little thing that happened a couple weeks ago. Working side by side with the city to be the meeting location for the kids. We provide each Sumner resident with a quarterly guest pass, and I'll speak to those numbers here in a minute. Offer community shower program. Anybody can come into our Y between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. have a place to shower. We provide towels and toiletries. Want to set people up for success. We know that hygiene can be a barrier. So let's take away the barrier to them getting the help and support that they need. We donate to Lions House for Kids. We have a lot of lost and found, as you might imagine, the collection we get. So want it to go to use, so we send it up there. Again, working with the city and the residents to be a cooling center during the summer. That pool's a pretty popular place to be. And so is air conditioning when it's hot. And so happy to support that. Also been working closely with East Pierce Fire when they have a new recruit class come through. We provide with no charge an opportunity for their recruits to come in and exercise so they stay fit during the 12-week training, and then provide refugee support for the various refugee families who come to the Y. We also have, excuse me, a number of social groups happening because we know, especially for our senior citizens, we might be the only folks that they see in their day. And so providing other avenues for them to socialize. The knitting group that is making hats and blankets to send to Good Sam to the babies. And also to the family center for folks in the winter. I'm so sorry.
That's Mark.
I have some right here.
Andrew's getting.
My cold is getting me. Also just various other social groups that can be found at the Y. So you can come get a little bit more than a workout with us. And then programs at the Y. I'm a program girl at heart. I truly believe that if people can get connected to a program, that they're going to stay at the Y longer, and that they're also going to build their community. So here you can just see the growth that we've had in the past year of offering more spots and more places. I am very passionate about swim lessons. We have a lot of water, and kids and adults need to know how to be safe in the water. They need to know what to do if they fall off the dock or a boat. And so we've been pushing really hard to provide as many spots as we can. And this session, we're actually much higher than our February numbers are. So pushing that hard, as well as group exercise and water fitness. Folks like to be active together, so let's create a space for them. And then Teen Late Night. Teen Late Night is part of our services agreement, but also a passion of ours as the association and ours at Gordon. We brought Teen Late Night back in September of this year after taking a break. Well, we didn't take a break on purpose, but coming back from that pandemic thing. So we're seeing about 37 kids a week. And what's incredible is they're not only kids from our school district, but they are kids coming from Auburn, from Puyallup. They're coming from everywhere. And so you can see in 2023, we had about 345 total, and already we've served 443. And what I love the most is that we've really rethought about what late night could be. Used to be, that's the place where you go to basketball. Back in Charlie's a little bit younger days, they all played basketball. That was a sports thing. And we've really taken it. We know our kids in Sumner and Bonnie Lake are highly involved in the school, right? They're at every after school event. A lot of them are playing sports. So we really wanted to think about, what about the kids who aren't into that stuff? And so we have arts and crafts night. We have a Dungeons and Dragons club that consistently has about 13 kids playing that game. They did an escape room a couple weeks ago throughout the building. And then once a month, we do a leadership or self-reflection activities. So we've had incredible support from local businesses. Teens like to eat, this we know. And so we really leaned into the community to ask for support and helping feed our teens about once a month, and it's been incredible to see. So as we continue to grow late night, we continue to grow teen programming. We have youth and government, and we're sending 3 kids to the state or to the Capitol first week of May, I think, first or second week of May. Well, they'll go in and they'll pass some bills and they'll learn all about government and see it from start to finish. So for our first year, having 3 that were eligible to attend is pretty great. And we look forward to sending more next year. And then our Youth Leadership Development Club is focusing on leadership skills, and they just wrapped up for the year. But I think hopefully one of them will be attending the community summit with us, but it's to build skills that if they wanted to be in a leadership club in school or an outside group, we're working on those kinds of skills. And so we have not had this kind of success in team programming before, so it's really exciting to see, and it's really fun to watch the kids take ownership. So Friday nights, 5:30 to 9:30. Any of you are welcome to stop by and see it in action. Maybe even play a board game with them if you want to.
Yes.
Yes.
So do you have a specific staff,
Yep.
somebody on the staff that's doing all the coordinating and?
Yeah. So we have our teen director, Addison Rittenhouse, grew up in Bonnie Lake. She is our director that oversees the programming. And then we have Daryl Griffin, who's our coordinator, very passionate about teens. And then we have about 5 to 7 part-time staff who kind of rotate through based on what activities happening that week. But we have been able to keep consistent staff, which I also think is the result of these kind of numbers, because they know who to expect all week. Yeah.
Go ahead, Pat.
So, do you have volunteers there? Is that an option for anyone?
Yeah, we have 2 volunteers that help with the Dungeons and Dragons Club. And then we had some volunteers who came in back in October and helped us with this pumpkin painting activity that they did. So yeah, always welcome for volunteers to support late night.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any question?
All right. So let's look at the services agreement. This feels a lot smaller, so my apologies for the eyes. So this is part of the original agreement from 2013. Our community access with our quarterly guest passes. In 2023, we served 235 people. So what somebody needs to qualify for that is they need to show a Sumner address, or they need to bring in Carmen sometimes puts in the quarterly newsletter like a coupon. They can bring that in as well. Or if they're a resident of Sumner, but they're already a member of the Y and they have a family member visiting, they can come in and redeem that free guest pass. So it gives them access to the Y all day. And then also during extreme heat advisories, if they live in Sumner, we just enter them in a different way so that they can have access to the building for the day. Teen Late Night, we talked about that. Again, showing incredible growth just in the past few months. Financial assistance, so about 10.5% of our members in 2023 were on financial assistance of some kind. We provide program financial assistance to members, so that might look like a discount on swim team, classes that have fees, maybe like the dance or arts would qualify in that. I don't have as much of it because we don't have a ton of programs that require extra fees, but it is available. And then we have a meeting room available. The library planning group's been in there a few times. And we've had various other organizations come and use our meeting rooms. In 2023, we had 1,000 Sumner residents who participated in swim lessons. That's a unique number, so they participated multiple times. It wasn't counted. It was at least one time. We do have rental rates available that can be the different spaces can be rented out. And then our guest fees for day use, a range of prices for that available. Continue to support the Parks and Rec program, now mostly obviously run out of Bonnie Lake, but we do share information and encourage members to participate, because I think what's great about us in Parks and Rec is we can serve the same, but we can serve different. They have the ability to offer different music lessons and different programs that we just don't have the space or the capacity for. And so it's been a great partnership. And then art space, we have a beautiful dedicated art space, thanks to Councilmember Potato and a few others who made that possible. But we continue to serve on the Arts Commission. We had our arts lead just support the school district art show a couple weeks ago. She said that was the best day in her life. I was like, all right, we'll get you judging more stuff then, I guess. And then we pre-COVID, we displayed artwork. We haven't quite gotten there, but we've had conversations with the school about when they're in a place to want to display it. We have spaces. But we've been displaying our art classes. And as a reminder, art is available for non-members as well. There's a little extra fee to it, but we do have some folks who come to the Y just for art. And art means everything. It can mean culinary, it can mean sewing, it can mean visual arts, it can mean painting, and it can even mean dance.
What's your largest space for people? Meeting space,
The community room upstairs,
and it seats.
I think its actual sitting is 60 if you're sitting lined up in chairs. 24 around the table is most comfortable. And so then this portion right here is the services agreement as it relates to the 2019 agreement. This one I was more involved in, so I have a little bit more information. Both Jason and I were involved in this one, so it's a little bit easier for us. So 3-month membership vouchers for families and seniors. 2023, we served 656 people with 201 vouchers. And you can see that really is our biggest draw. We have a lot of families who come to us from the family center with the school district. This is aimed towards low-income families and refugees who need support. And we're serving a family right now who truly just come and use it for a place to heat up dinner. They're living out of their car right now, so they come to heat up dinner, to shower and do homework. Occasionally they'll use it for recreation, but really they're using it for a space before they have to spend the night in their car. And so it looks different for everybody, but that's what the point of the vouchers is to meet the families where they're at. Shower program. When this services agreement was originally put together, we thought the shower program would look a little bit different. We've served 88 people in 2023, but what we find is many of them are going to the vouchers because it gives them more flexibility on when they can come into the building. Shower program is designed for that early morning time, and sometimes that doesn't work for folks. So many of them go to the shower program, or we've worked with them to check out their medical insurance. And if their medical insurance will pay for a membership to the Y, we get them on that program. Then they can enjoy the Y and the amenities as well. And then our Buena Vida program, that's for our Spanish speaking families. And the point is to bring them into the Y, get them familiar with the Y, have somebody help with translation, connect them to other Spanish speaking families, and then get them into programming. It has morphed a little bit as the families' needs have changed. What it originally started out was we would have classes for just our Spanish speaking families. And what we found was they want to practice English in a safe place. And so it's become, well, we want to take part of the dance class with everybody else because we want to practice our English. And mom wants to practice her English in a painting class. And so we've morphed it to however the families need it, but it's pretty cool. They come together once a quarter and do a potluck. It's a great day to be working because Hispanic families potlucks are some good stuff. It's not cookies from Fred Meyer. It's the good stuff. So we like to support that. And they got a Cinco de Mayo event coming up here in a couple of weeks. So, and then management of the Bill Heath Sports Complex. We take care of all the scheduling and the paperwork. Bless Derek Berry for the 755 questions I have a week on if this is, and Andrea like, is this the right insurance? Is this the right paperwork? They're so good to me. So we didn't have a lot of rentals in 2023. A lot of baseball teams don't have the right insurance to meet the city's expectations. And so that has very much changed. I've been doing a lot of review of paperwork before I send it to Andrea so I can look smart. Or pretend to look smart, that is. But we now are renting out 6 days a week at the field, and then working alongside making sure the school has priority of the field. So we're excited. We're booked out actually until the end of the year
Oh,
at this
wow.
point. So,
Clear through the summer?
yep. So we have 2 teams, Bonnie Lake, Sumner Little League. They're in there 4 days a week. And then another community baseball group is in there 2 days a week
Wow.
and Saturdays. So we're booked up, and then football team is looking to take it over midsummer and through the fall. So it's looking good. Again, Derek, Andrea, great partners and helping us make it possible. So we have about 183,000
Can I ask a
almost.
question on the sports complex?
Yeah.
Yeah, how does that look? There's not a lot of numbers, just the dollar amounts. Is that like, how do you measure capacity and how does it compare like 2024, what you have booked compared to the other years?
Yeah. So dollar amount's really related to staff time in terms of time we're spending just managing it, working on the paperwork. And then it originally the setup was that we would have a staff present to unlock the fields. But Derek and Ryan recently have said because they're all long-term rentals, we now have certain locks available for the team. So it's not as time intensive as originally we all thought it would be. 2022, we were providing staff on site for the whole practice time. And then after reevaluating with Derek said, we don't have to babysit the groups. That's why they have insurance and stuff like that. So it's, yeah, managing the time mostly.
So do you guys measure like how many days it's rented per year normally at all, or just the dollar amount? That is,
Just dollar amount of staff time spent. So we have a job code that
goes there. All right.
goes towards it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got it rented out. So I was just curious how it looked.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're.
And then all revenue that comes in for it goes right over to the city. So we send a check once a quarter typically is what we have been doing. We collect the money and then we just send it straight across. So no revenue for us. Yeah, so a lot of what we'll be doing this year is the vouchers, as that seems to be where the highest need is. But feel confident that we'll hit that number. I have been holding back on vouchers because I didn't want to give away too much and I wanted to be thoughtful on where we were, but when the need is there, I also can't say no to somebody who needs us. So vouchers it is. Yeah. Any questions on the
Anybody
service?
Have any questions down there? Anybody here? Kurt, you're good? Okay. I think you're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. One more slide. Sorry.
Oh, we're not done yet.
Don't let her-
Sorry.
Thank you. I take it back.
So just to look ahead of what's coming up at the Y, Healthy Kids Day, April 20th. I think there's like a billion things happening in Sumner on April 20th. So it'll be a great day, but open to the public. Lots of kids activities. Our focus this year is how can kids be healthy and active, not just through sports, but things like gardening. So we'll have like a gardening activity, and then working with some community partners to showcase different activities for kids. Even the train from the old cannery will be there to whip some kids around in the parking lot. May 2nd, National Day of Prayer, provide a space for all walks of spiritual journeys. And so that will be available and open to the public. June 8th, all the glitters and tutus will take over the Bonnie Lake Performing Arts Center and they will dance. They're darn cute. There's nothing better than a 3-year-old dancing on stage to not the right moves. And then summer day camp. We actually have spring day camp happening right now. So the Y has been bustling all day long, but we're prepping for summer. We're almost halfway filled. We do have the most amount of spots filled right now across all the Ys, so we'll keep pushing that. And then Camp Possible with Deputy Chief McCurdy, his other side life. But that's Camp for the Youth with Vision Impairment for Pierce County. And so we're excited to be the host again for this second year and provide them with Y opportunities, but also just a space to bring their kids together. So we're busy, we're loving it. I think a busy Y is a happy Y, and some people might feel differently, but I love it. And then last but not least, our field project update. So 2020 obviously threw us for a loop. A lot of things happened, a lot of things changed. The money hasn't been there. We're continuing to work on solutions about what could a phased approach look like. Currently looking to see if putting sod down could get us by for a while. Is that a financially smart decision for us to make? And then what's the timeline for final completion, which would be eventually a built-in sports park type thing. So we'll continue to work at it. Do you have any?
Yeah, I think our commitment is to get it done. And Jason and I and Andrea, some of my fondest memories, Andrea, working on that. We are going to get it done. We so appreciate the opportunity. I mean, the city's been the great partner for us. And I tell the other communities, could they please learn like Sumner? And because that's true. And this project means a lot, not just to the Y, right? It's a project for the community. And I think it's going to be great. We're still digging out of a hole. It did set us back. It's amazing what deferred maintenance, that's become my biggest nightmare in operating, because we didn't do any maintenance during the 3-year period as far as capital maintenance. But we're committed to this. We don't have a specific date, but we still have 2 big community partners that are going to support it. The cost went from less than more to more. It escalated to double the cost, and that's the barrier. So we're working towards that. I think, the Gordon Y is our top Y, and it's a gem. People come from other communities just to see this Y. It's a showcase. I whispered in Jenna's ear, she needs to grow it a little bit more, but she's trying. She said, Jenna is our star exec, actually, and I take no credit, but I worked with her at Quorum when she was an intern. This was a few years ago, and it's fun to see her lead the way she is, because her team is solid. This is a great partnership. Jason and Andrea, great partners, and seeing the services that are provided. We work together to serve your community, and we believe it's our community, so we work together. So thank you for that. That's why I came, just to say thank you, because we really appreciate it, and it is the standard. It really is. You're so cooperative with us, partnering. It's really just so easy and yet really rewarding. So thank you for that, really.
Thank you.
And Barb has been the best. I mean, my classic story is just the last story is how this Y partnership came about. Barb was spearheaded that. It's been 2005, what is it, 8? 7 or 8. She brought a bus out to Gig Harbor, and
Here.
it was amazing. So thank you, Barb.
I think we need to thank the Y also, because we didn't really realize that you were interested in East Pierce County as much as you were. And so it took us, I think, 7 years to get the building open. But once we did, like your feasibility study said 21,000 members, and we're getting back to close to that number. And so, but it's always been because there's been such great support from you and even the executive director. And she is good.
She tries, doesn't she?
I know she
You're helping her along.
Yeah.
Thank you all though.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to thank you. I'm a really big fan of the Y, so we go there, bring our family there, been there a long time. I did have, I was curious, like looking back, it's been a couple years. Pretty dramatic, obviously, with COVID and maybe this has been asked before. And I'm just curious, like, how is it? I mean, what are lessons learned? Have you guys gotten feedback from the community? What you would have done different? Like, how is that? How is that? I mean, obviously financially it hurt you. But I mean, I have some friends who still are like, hey, I don't want to go to the Y anymore because there were some things they didn't like how it was handled. Do you guys have some like lessons learned and things
You
about
know,
that?
we lived it, so I learned a lot of lessons. I think the hard part, we have seen change that hasn't bounced back. And that comment resonates because I think the mask mandate was very difficult. People really didn't want, so we went 6 months closed in a year, over a year of the mask mandate. People didn't come in. I think, you know, we're seeing people come back. I mean, the Gordon Y is almost what it was, so. But there are people who didn't come back. So I don't know if there's a common thread there. Their routines changed. I think the world changed. And I don't think, you know, I think that how people are exercising next to others, some never bounce back from that. Now, I don't know if your connections had that same thing. I don't feel like we did anything to alienate people. I will say this, we have tried to embrace a diverse community. And some people, and our efforts to do that, that's a lightning rod in the world. And so I would say that there's some pockets in East Pierce County that resist that. And I don't know how the council feels and the city feels, but we try to really serve all kinds of, everyone's welcome at the Y. And that's a polarizing conversation for the world. And we try to lean into it and try to be, because that's what the Y is about, is welcoming all people. And people who come in that are homeless, that's alienating to some. They don't want to be showering next to someone who's homeless. So, I mean, there's all kinds of issues that became, I think, more polarizing or divisive than they were before COVID.
I think my main question was just like, so looking forward, I think as a community representative, like if somebody comes to me and says it, what's your conduit for like, for feedback? Is there just emails? Do you guys, do you engage the city? Is that something I should say, hey, if you have a thing, this is how we, I mean, do you guys, I'm just, that's more my, just like,
Yeah,
more like,
that's
not
great.
so much looking forward, but like, hey, what method of doing that besides
that's
comment
great.
cards, I guess?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
No, that's good.
Yeah, feel free to send them to me. I would love to hear from people directly. I mean, comment cards are welcome, but sometimes they get lost, right? They never make it where they're supposed to. So, if folks want to talk about or learn more or have frustration, I would love to say, contact Jenna Lehman and, you know, either my phone number or my email, and happy to talk.
And we
Prefer
have-
that, but
Social media people are very vocal. We have the brand, which I got a very not welcoming email yesterday, but that's part of my job. But I think we have Listen 360, which is a member service. It's not a satisfaction, but it is a open avenue to welcoming input, and we get all kinds of input. You look at that daily, right?
every morning when I first wake up.
So there's a lot of potential to give your opinion. I think that's welcome by us because that's how we get better.
Yeah.
And we know that not everybody's happy at the Y. Like to believe that, but not everybody's happy at the Y.
Well, I'd just like to say that, you know, you do listen, and I always had the motto that you always try to get to yes instead of
right.
no, you know, it's not possible. It's like, well, how can we make it work? So
Yeah.
I think, you know,
We
if you
try.
can't get a hold of her, tell me and I'll.
We listen.
She'll
to
come
all-
find me.
and that's the-
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been there a lot. I've only seen happy people, so
We hope
Okay.
so.
thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us today. Jace, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andrea.
All right, we're going to move on to number 2, our council vacancy.
Thank you, Mayor. Give a moment to get the presentation up.
Okay. Sounds like
Lot
he's
of
playing
beeping and
piano over there.
Singing, so I know it's getting close. Maybe, the ground, maybe not.
Let's see.
Okay, I'm gonna spend a few minutes tonight going over the council vacancy process. As you know, Councilmember Stewart vacated his seat on March 27th because he's moving out of state to be closer to family. Some of this is review. It's only been a couple months since we went through this process. The there's council rules of procedure, but then there's also state laws that govern filling vacancies of elected positions, and those are covered in chapters 35A and chapter 42 of the RCW. And the exact process is outlined in your council rules, which is adopted by resolution. So as a reminder, to be a elected leader here in the city of Sumner, state law requires that you must have continuously resided within the city limits for a minimum of 1 year prior to the appointment, and you must be a registered voter in the city. Councilmember Stewart was in his 3rd year of his 4-year term, and that's significant because it sets forth when that position will be on the next general election for consideration, and that is going to be in 2025, so November of 25. Before I go into the process, I just want to point out a couple of things that I think all of you are familiar with. This is a busy year. We have a lot of things on our agenda for the remainder of the year. I know as staff, we're already scheduling study sessions into July at this point. This is a biannual budget year, so we're going to start the budget process on May 1st. We've already shared with you, there is going to be some challenges in that budget process due to some financial revenue struggles as well as some expenditure increases. We also have 4 new council members with this vacancy, plus the 3 of you on this end of the room. And that's not a bad thing. It just means that the budget process is probably going to take a little bit longer than it historically has because of, getting you up to speed and comfortable with the process. We're also doing a major comprehensive plan amendment this year. That's part of our 10-year update, and that's going to take several meetings. So I just want to point that out because we have a lot of big things that are going to take a lot of time over the next several months. So the process set forth in your rules includes multiple steps, and that includes the advertisement, the application, an interview, an appointment, and a swearing in. And just as a reminder, the appointment needs to be completed within 90 days of the vacancy. If you don't do that, then the county council is required to appoint the position. So in this process, it's a little hard to read in the yellow, but you can see that if we go down this, you'd be looking at a June 17th appointment date, if you follow your rules strictly. And this is compounded because we also have Memorial Day in here, which falls on a Monday. So traditionally, we've canceled that meeting. We also have 5 Mondays in April, and we don't meet on the 5th Monday. So stretches that out and takes away some of the available Mondays. The alternate process that I've been asked to look at is, well, what if, we just did this to fill Councilmember Hochstetter's position? What if we just use the applications that we had received just a couple months ago? That would significantly shrink this process and could move you to an appointment as early as April 22nd and a May 6th swearing in. And if we were to do this process, it does require you, because the process is set forth in your rules, it would require you to suspend your rules. And if you chose to do that, and we're going to get some feedback here in just a minute, the proposed motion would read, move to suspend Council Rule 24.4 and 24.5, and that's the application process. By utilizing the list of council member applicants from the February 2024 process, And then amend Rule 24.6 to conduct the nomination and appointment process at a special council meeting to be held on April 22nd, 2024. Because typically the nomination appointment is done at a regular council meeting, which would be May 6th, which is an option as well, but we are going to have a budget retreat on May 4th. And if you want this council member to be an active participant in that process, you would need to do that appointment before that. Staff could go either way on this. This is really a council decision, but wanted to bring you the both options and get some guidance from you on what you'd like to do.
All right. Cool. Go ahead.
Okay, so I feel like we had such a good poll for Councilmember Hochstetter that I would advocate for using that poll instead of starting the process all over again. It's time, it's money, and it's a whole bunch of other things. And to me, it makes sense it'd be a more effective process if we just move forward and made a selection from a good pool of candidates that we already had. So that's my 2 cents.
Barbara, go ahead.
I'd have to agree with the deputy mayor because we did have a good, there were, I think, 6 or 7 people that applied and, maybe if they all had different assets that it would be helpful to be on the council, and knowing that the retreat is going to be the first weekend of May, I think it's really important, for a new person and our 3 newest council members to be there. And because there is so much to learn about the whole city process of, the budget and other things. So I think the sooner we can do this is best.
Okay, Andy.
I think I'm open to using some of the candidates. My concern is that if we have, I think it was 5 folks that had full complete applications. If we end up doing that and we reach out to them and only 2 people to choose from, I think that changes it quite a bit in my mind. I think the idea of reaching out to the folks who applications weren't complete to make that broaden that pool without expanding it to the public would be something that I would like to know your feedback on. Because I think if somebody, they already had that window and they put it in and they forgot to sign or something was really something technical wasn't done, I just think the idea of getting the most people without having to take it till June would be ideal. So I think the 2 things that concern me about this option, the shorter one, is that you end up having 5 people and then maybe 3 people, something happened or they're not engaged anymore. And then you have not very many people to choose from. But I think in theory, I like the idea of doing it quickly.
Mayor, may I respond to your
Yes.
questions?
Go ahead.
So Councilmember Alfred, you're referencing there was a couple applicants last time that did not complete the application appropriately and therefore were disqualified. I would be hesitant to include them only because you didn't interview them. So you'd have to actually then interview them as well to comply with your rules. Which then you might as well just start the process over, in my opinion, because then you're adding newer interviews and not going back and re-interviewing the other folks. I guess conversely, you could go back and interview everybody again. Second, sorry, what was your second part of the question?
Oh, if we had the people who were already interviewed if that shrunk down to like a really small number.
So what we would do, if council wants to go down this road, between now and next Monday, when you'd have to make a motion to suspend your rules, we would reach out to all of those candidates. So before you took the vote to suspend the rules, you would know, are you down to 2 or do you still have 5 people that are interested or somewhere in between? Thank you.
Councilmember Bowman.
I agree that we should look at the existing pool. I feel like people interviewed. The time was spent, like others have said. And it's only been, maybe a month? And I'm not thinking that there would be an additional ton of people that were interested and that applied, they've applied. So I would choose to go with the existing pool and suspend the rule. That's my vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Clerget.
Yeah, I'm good with what we started with, so.
So next steps, as I mentioned, we will reach out to the applicants or the candidates rather that were not selected. See if they're still interested. And then next week on the new business agenda, there'll be a new business item to suspend the rules and amend that one rule. There'll be that motion that was just up on the screen. Also then provide you a list before you vote of who are the people that are still interested in the position.
Did you have something? I what? Oh, yeah. Hi, Kurt. Did you have something to add? I'm sorry, Kurt. You're way down there. on the end.
If the applicants are still interested, I'm in favor using that pool.
Thank
That's
you.
my favorite part. I love that. Thank you, Kurt.
Any other questions about the process moving forward?
Anybody else? No questions.
And I'll just say the public will have an opportunity to provide input before you make your vote next week. And then we'll make sure the public has the opportunity to provide input during the nomination process per our rules. We need to do that on the 22nd.
On the 22nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just one other thing, sorry, on the 22nd, that is a study session night. So we'll start with a special council meeting where you'll go through the nomination process and then we'll go into a study session.
Okay. Everybody all right with that?
Yes.
There's no
Yeah.
meeting the 29th.
There's no meeting the 29th. That's the fifth Monday. So that's a great segue, Mayor, if I can move in my city administrator report.
Just move on in.
And on the dais in front of you is a flyer for the 29th Annual Community Summit. And I would encourage all of you to attend. There's actually a meet and greet coffee to start the evening at 5 o'clock. There's breakout groups at 6 and then a ceremony at 7. 4 o'clock. See, I should have looked. Second, yeah,
Shouldn't
4
have
o'clock
looked
is
at
the
me.
coffee, 5 o'clock is the breakout, 6 o'clock is
4 to
the
5, 5 to 6.
session. So we will be noticing this. Please, if you're interested in attending, use the QR code to register yourself at the bottom.
And there is a little Hill Against the Valley competition and it's hygiene items. So I will put the box back out in the lobby of City Hall. And if anybody here or in the community has hygiene items to donate, we will count them on the night of the community summit and see if the valley beats the hill.
Who are the valley and the hill?
Sumner's the valley, Bonnie Lake's the hill.
Oh.
It's real technical.
It's, yes. Anything else? Nothing? Nothing?
Any calendar items?
Any calendar items?
Thought PCRC wasn't on there. Does that mean there's no meeting or do I just, is that?
I have not seen an announcement for PCRC this month, so they may have canceled it. Is anybody else?
I have not heard.
So they haven't seen one either, so you're still a couple weeks out from it,
Next Thursday, I think. Yeah.
hopefully this week.
All right. Anybody else? I will adjourn the meeting at 6:48.